Why cannot you take liquids on a plane? Have you ever been held up at an airport security checkpoint because some knucklehead disobeyed almost every liquid rule in the book? Getting through security is difficult enough, what with having to remove your shoes and empty your pockets? Taking your laptop or tablet out of your bag and placing it in your pockets. So why have they devised this ridiculous liquid contraption to slow us all down? Excuse me, could you please step aside and open your bag? You dread hearing. Listen, I understand. Corkscrews and scissors are not particularly special, but they are sharp and pokey, so use them with caution. I understand why you are not permitted to carry such items in your carry-on luggage. What are the chances? If your bag is in the overhead locker and your neighbor is nearby, they might injure someone. Is attempting to cram their bag between yours and yours. Or when the person in front of you keeps squeezing your seat with their knees. You have had your fill of it. I am joking, of course. But what makes a bottle of water or your favorite perfume or cologne so dangerous? Does it have anything to do with the cabin's pressure? Is it possible that my liquids will interfere with the plane's navigation system? That is why they ask you to turn off your phone, perhaps the two are connected? It has something to do with liquids being within reach because you can pack them. You may bring as many as you like in your checked luggage. Well, I am sure you have figured out that it all boils down to safety. Yes, we are living in a different era, and yes, there have been instances where bad guys constructing explosives out of water bottles and toothpaste tubes. As a result, the liquids, aerosols, and gels, or LAGs, restrictions were adopted. Many say that it is not the ideal solution because evil individuals can still do bad things. Only a smidgen, but hey, restricting liquids is the temporary fix until they figure out what is wrong. Of some other item. Surprisingly, there is not a single document dedicated to these aviation security standards. All airlines around the world utilize this. However, several groups are involved in maintaining airplane safety. The International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, for example, oversees all aspects of aviation. To flights, from aircraft design to battery transport regulations. The International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, publishes lengthy documents containing criteria that all member countries must adhere to, as well as some suggestions for you to consider. They may even send auditors to partner countries to ensure that they are adhering to the rules. Airports and airlines, on the other hand, are free to set their own norms. Many of them, for example, prohibited flying with the problematic Samsung Galaxy Note in 2016. 7. Which, as you may recall, was prone to exploding on planes. They made that decision without waiting for the authorities to issue an official ban. However, there are lists of what you may and cannot bring in your checked and carry-on bags. No matter where you go, it is the same. So, before you board your next flight, keep the following tips in mind. Liquids, gels, and aerosols in containers are allowed in carry-on luggage. That can only hold 3.4 ounces. That example, instead of taking the entire bottle of shampoo, you can divide it into smaller portions. Containers that are smaller. Well, not exactly, but I will get to that in a minute. You also cannot take the entire 12-ounce bottle, even if it is mostly empty. Only a smidgen of shampoo remains at the bottom. Nope, you will need to acquire a travel size or squeeze what is left of the product. Turn that bottle into a travel-friendly one. If you are anything like me, you are thinking, okay, if I am just permitted little bottles, I will do it. I will just take a huge bunch. I have made that error before, so take note. All of these 3.4-ounce containers must fit into a single, clear, resealable plastic bag. And, before you reach for the biggest Ziploc bag you have, keep in mind that your liquids bag is smaller. It should also be no more than a quart in size. That is approximately 8 by 8 inches, plus or minus a few millimeters. So, yeah, you will have to keep your tiny bottles to a minimum. It should also be able to close, so do not try to stuff it so full that it cannot close. Even if the thing does not zip shut, everything is technically in there. Once again, I am speaking from personal experience. If you are traveling with friends or family, keep in mind that these rules apply to everyone. Apply to each and every passenger. Also, do not assume that liquids only refer to drinks. Toothpaste, sunscreen, deodorant, liquid or gel makeup, even mascara and lip gloss are all items to keep on hand. These are the only toiletries that have to follow the rules. Yogurt, butter, and soft cheeses are all acceptable snacks for a long flight. 2. Finally, here's a hint, They will ask you to remove the liquids bag and replace it with something else. It will go through the scanner in its own tub. Instead of waiting in line, get it out and ready to put in a tub while you are there. Of struggling with your belongings on the conveyor belt when it is your time. You will get less sighs and eye rolls from the people behind you, I promise. There are several exceptions to this stringent liquids rule, of course. If it has to do with children's food, you can take as much as a small child, usually up to a pound. A year to 2 years will be required during the voyage. In addition, if you take any medications, you must provide proof from your doctor. The total amount you will require for the duration of the flight. Otherwise, you may be asked to leave them in your checked luggage by some airlines. Oh, and if you are ever unsure about something, the airport is always a good place to start. Security's website, such as the TSA or another government agency in your nation. But for the time being, you have covered all the essentials. So, let us take a look at what happens if you do not follow the liquids rule. Oh no, bring on the horror music. It is actually not that bad. Sure, it is inconvenient, but it is not the end of the world. First and foremost, if prohibited items were discovered in your bag prior to check-in, you have two options. Give them to those who accompanied you to the airport, or keep them in your car if you are going to be late. Out in the parking lot, I will be waiting for you. Of course, I am referring to items that are not allowed in checked luggage. You can also hand them over to the airport, which will store them safely until you arrive. Can reclaim it. Check to see if the airport has a mail service if none of those options are available. To your friends or family, you can send any items that are prohibited for travel. What if the prohibited items are discovered in your suitcase after you have checked it? Most of the time, you will be told to return to the registration desk, pick up the item, and leave. And select one of the options listed above. The item will be confiscated if it is not returned. Hey, it sounds scarier than it really is, so do not be alarmed. You will most likely find it on the way back. In any case, if the item is supposed to be confiscated but you value it, you should keep it. Explain this to the security guards, for example, using your grandfather's old pocket knife. Personnel. There is almost certainly a way to save it. Finally, if any prohibited items were discovered in your carry-on luggage and you are still allowed to board the plane. If you can, return to the check-in desk and place them in your checked luggage. If you are unable to do so, the item will most likely be confiscated. Again, if you handle the situation correctly, it will not be a big deal. On that note, seized items are kept at the airport until the owner claims them. Return. Just make sure the item was not confiscated indefinitely and that you were given some compensation. You should have some sort of proof that you have the right to get this thing back. Of course, I am referring to legal, non-harmful activities. Let us say they discover an expensive cream that you are not willing to part with. While going through security, keep your carry-on with you. If you do not have the option of checking it, leave it in the storage area. Get a hotel room near the airport, gather all of the necessary paperwork and documentation, and then simply pick up. When you return, clean it up. Sure, it will be a pity that you will not be able to use this fantastic cream while you are away, but hey, it is better than throwing it away. Still, I would think it is preferable to stay put and avoid the whole situation in the first place. You will know what you can and cannot bring with you on your trip. After all, airports are stressful enough as it is, so why make it even more so? Risk losing your priceless possessions. You should be enthused about going rather than fearful of all the security regulations and limitations. Hopefully, these suggestions may come in handy on your next vacation. Good luck on your journey. Do you believe airport security is overly strict? Please let me know in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend if you learned something new today. But, hold on. Do not try to sneak that smoothie past security just yet. We have over 2,000 entertaining videos for you to watch. Simply choose the left or right video, click on it, and have fun. Maintain optimum health.